Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Rajshri Polypack Limited H2 FY21 post-results conference call hosted by Prabhudas Lilladher Private Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Jinesh Joshi from Prabhudas Lilladher. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Neerav. On behalf of Prabhudas Lilladher, I welcome you all to the 2H FY21 earnings call of Rajshri Polypack Limited. We have with us the management represented by Mr. Ram Swaroop III, CMD, and Mr. Sunil Sharma, CFO. I would now like to hand over the call to the management for opening remarks, and after that we can open the floor for Q&A. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Welcome you all to earnings call of Rajshri Polypack Limited for H2 FY21. For H2 FY21, the company has achieved a turnover of rupees 76.73 crores as against turnover of rupees 58 crores for corresponding period of earlier year, thereby achieving a growth of 32.9% on year-on-year basis. Further, the company has achieved EBITDA of rupees 12.06 crore for H2 FY21 as compared to rupees 8.05 crore for corresponding period earlier year, which is 49.71% higher. EBITDA margin of the company stood at 15.71% as against 13.88% for corresponding period of earlier year. At the same time, the PAT of the company has also improved to rupees 5.32 crore for H2 FY21 as against 3.66 crore for H2 FY20, thereby registering a growth of 45.29% on YOY basis. PAT margins for the period stood at 6.94% of sales as against 6.32% of sales for corresponding period earlier year. If we look at the entire financial year 2021, the overall turnover of the company stood at rupees 127.07 crore for the year as against 125.72 crore for financial year 21-22. At the same time, EBITDA of the company stood at rupees 20.38 crores for the year as compared to 19.97 crores for the earlier year. The EBITDA margins increased marginally from 15.88% for financial year 19-20 to 16.04% for financial year 2021. Profit after tax for the year stood at rupees 8.82 crores as against rupees 9.26 crores for the earlier year. I would also like to invite your kind attention to the fact that the company has successfully completed its expansion plan of Unit 2 extension at Daman, resulting into additional capacity of 4,000 metric ton per annum of extrusion and 2,000 metric ton per annum of thermoforming. The company successfully commenced commercial production from the new plant in June 2021. While the extrusion plant of 4,000 metric ton per annum has been funded through the IPO proceeds, the new thermoforming capacity of 2,000 metric ton per annum has entirely been funded through internal accrual. The new unit will generate additional 80 to 100 jobs in Daman. Though the extruder project got delayed by 18 months owing to strategic technological changes followed by COVID impact, the unit is expected to mark beginning of new era in the history of company with introduction of new and more value-added products. This is the first of its kind in India in rigid packaging industry with complete integration under one roof. With new unit, we have already started making inroads in the market specifically for barrier packaging product for enhanced shelf life of food products. At the same time, we have also initiated consolidation and modernization of Unit 1 and Unit 3 at Sarigam in Gujarat. The land and building for the project has been taken on long-term lease. We have already placed order for new machinery for the project and are expect to operationalize same by January 2022. The total investment in the project is estimated at rupees 15 crores, of which 75% shall be funded through term loan from bank and balance through internal accruals. This project will not only help us saving in manufacturing costs, but also at the same time will provide us some additional capacities to the extent of about 15% of existing combined capacities of Unit 1 and Unit 3. Looking on product side, we have developed more than 15 products during H2 FY21 apart from the barrier trays and rigid sheets for MAP and retort applications. At the same time, we are also well equipped to manufacture PLA and compostable products should the demand of these products be revived. Let me also mention that the company has tied up with Pune-based company Recycle for plastic waste collection and recycle and meeting EPR requirements. Further, the company is focusing more on manufacturing of environment-friendly recyclable products. We remain committed to contribute our bit for a sustainable environment for generations to come. With this, I would like to invite your questions.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The first question is from the line of Mr. Hitesh from ICICI Direct. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir, and congratulations on a very good set of numbers for this second half of FY21. Sir, I have few questions. And the first one is we have a different capacities, in extrusion, thermoforming, printing, sleeving. These are the different categories. So I just wanted to know whether these all categories are, backward for the backward integration, or we have some revenue contribution also from this 4 categories. Generally, I wanted to know how much revenue or say volume, if you can share volume data also coming from these 4 categories.
Yeah. Thank you, Hitesh. So basically, our main area of revenue is coming from the sale of sheets and sale of packaging products. So if I say the sale of packaging product is around 85.26 crores for FY 2021 and sheet is 38 crores. So packaging products use the facilities of printing and decoration, and sheets are sold directly after the extrusion. And the sheets are captively consumed to make packaging products also.
Okay, got it. So, sir, in case if I wanted to understand what is the current utilization of your plant altogether, so can you please help me with that number? What is the current utilization, or say for FY21 utilization level?
Yeah, for the H1, H2 utilization, if I say, in extrusion in H1 we were at 77% approximately. In extrusion we have used more than the rated capacity. We are at around 115%. Thermoforming in H1 we were at 62% and in H2 we are at 104%. Again we have used more than the rated capacity. And in printing in H1 we were at 54% and in H2 we have used 97%. And in sleeving we were at 45% in H1 and in H2 we are at 70%.
Okay. And sir, okay. Got it. Now, sir, my other question pertains to you have given a EBITDA margin of around 15% for this quarter, for this second half. I just wanted to know this EBITDA margin, if I remove other income, which was almost double from the base period. So that comes to a bit decline. If you can see that number, that is a decline of I'm talking about a gross margin. I'm talking about a gross margin.
So as
gross
I
margin
would
was
say, operational EBITDA for 1920 was at 14%, and operational EBITDA was 2021 was at 13.66%.
Mm-hmm.
And overall EBITDA is at 20.38 crore for 2021, which is a 16%. And in 1920 it was 19.96 crores at 15.88%.
No, I just that I got it, sir. I just wanted to know the gross margin on a second half, which has come down substantially. So, was it because of higher raw material prices, or say it was delayed to pass on the prices, or what is the reason? And what is the sustainable gross margin do you expect going forward?
Yeah, definitely. After December 20, the raw material prices have gone up in quarter 4 to the tune of 30 to 40%.
Okay.
We do have a variable price mechanism with our customers, where we have monthly, quarterly, and spot price mechanisms, and we are able to pass on the raw material burden, but sometimes with a lag of 1 month or 3 months. So, so this particular EBITDA margin is sustainable, which may improve further by 100 to 150 basis points as we scale up on our capacity.
Okay. Okay. Great, sir. Sir, how many customers have you added in the past 1 year, sir? New customer addition?
We have added almost 10 to 12 customers. These are mid to small customers, which we have added in past period.
Okay. Okay. So, sir, can you guide us some customer concentration of how much your 10 or top 5 customers are contributing in your top line?
Yeah, like if I say the top 10 customers will contribute 23, 28, 51, 56%.
56%. Okay. 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 And sir, my other question, pertain to our contingent liabilities. If I can see your FY20 report, there was a contingent liability which was executed on, which was remaining to be executed on capital account of 22 odd crores. So, what was that, and what is the nature of this liability?
This is basically against the capital machinery which we have procured. So we have taken an LC of 360 days, against which we have given 100% FD margin through the IPO proceeds. So, so that contingent liability is towards that LC of 360 days.
Okay. So I believe, you have employed that a significantly amount has been deployed in, for the manufacturing capacity. So this liability would have been, it would have been gone, I think, right?
Yeah. Once this gets LC gets due, against that LC, this FD money will be paid and it will be squared off. So nothing will go from the operational.
Okay. And sir, as far as your working capital is concerned during this period, we have seen substantial increase in our working capital days for FY21. So, what was the reason, sir? And what do you guide us going forward? Will the working capital cycle will resume to its previous level, or say it will be what is current level? Since we are adding more capacities going forward, that is what I'm asking.
Yeah, there are two reasons for working capital going up. One is, of course, the increase in the prices of the raw materials.
Okay.
So inventory has gone up on the account of increased prices.
Mm-hmm.
7 crores increase in the inventory, out of which 5 crores is attributed towards the price and another 2 crores is towards quantity. And also, as we have increased our sales in last quarter, so our debtors have also gone up by around 25% from last year. So these are the two reasons where we see the increase in the working capital cycle.
And what about going forward, sir? I mean, I can understand about the inventory things. As soon as it will, the raw material prices will come down, it will be normalized. But what about the debtor side, sir?
Debtor side, as we increased our business, the general debtor cycle is 60 days. So,
Right.
So we will be managing between 60 days. So we don't see any deviation happening. And today also we are in that 60 days only. So there is a debtor outstanding of 27 crores as on 31st March. So which is two months of sales. So there is no deviation as such.
Okay, sir. Sir, my last question pertains to, going forward with addition of your new capacities, what kind of revenue growth, are you seeing for FY22?
We expect to ramp up our capacity to at least 60 to 70% in this year. So, so whatever quantities we have mentioned, so we at least expect 40 to 50% growth in that particular number.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, and all the best for your future. If I have many other questions, I will come in the queue. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Rahul from Abacus Asset Managers. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir.
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good, sir. Thank you so much. Is Saurabh online?
Yeah, Saurabh is also there on the call.
Hi, Saurabh. How are you?
Good, Rahul. Hi, how are you?
Good, sir. So congratulations, finally. Our capacity is online now, finally.
Yeah.
Sir, anything that can create a hurdle from your own, or the growth from your own will be more or less linear now?
Apart from if we have any situation coming out of COVID uncertainty, we don't know. But otherwise, we don't see any other challenges as such as on today.
Mm-hmm. So installation, testing, validation of batches, everything is done with the client, sir, from the new capacity?
Yes, everything is done.
Okay. So, sir, then why only 50% of ramp up, sir?
We are saying 60 to 70% of the capacity, new capacity, and 50% on the overall, I would say.
Okay. And so we've been saying that we'll be able to pass on the margins, but like pre-IPO, I'm saying FY 16, 17, 18, we were at 20-22% kind of a margin till FY 18. But after that, the oil prices have come back and we are just hovering around the 13-14% margin. So what is the thought process there now?
Raw material we have been able to pass on. Definitely there are increase in the other expenditure, which is on the account of electricity, insurance, some rental, and legal and professional fees. So these are the reasons which have brought down the margins. But as we scale up our capacities, we will not have same proportional increase in this expenditures, and we should see an improvement in the numbers.
So, but in FY17, our gross margins were 48%. In FY21, we closed at 40% gross margins. There's a 700 bips gap there.
No, actually, there was some regrouping done in 18, 17 and 18. So due to that regrouping, we see that change. In 18, some regrouping was done, and in 19 also some regrouping was done. for packing materials, stores and consumption, and inks and sleeves.
So, but how would that change the gross margin?
That was shown as the part of other expenditure, and that was brought now into COGS.
Okay. So, but even if I consider FY18, we were at 42.5% margins, and FY20 again like 150 basis was much lower.
So in FY18, in 2017, one regrouping happened, and in 2018, another regrouping happened. So if I do reverse calculation, and if I remove this number from today's cost of raw material, this is around 8.5 to 9 crores. So that will add up another 8% to the gross margin.
Mm-hmm. So in FY18, even our impact cost was just 8.8 crores, and which has gone up to 12.6 crores now. Our other expenses, which used to be 18.3 crores, has gone up to 21 crores now. So, like, from gross to employee to other manufacturing, everything is going up. So how are we able to say that we will have any operating leverage from here? Legal expenses can be one-off, but electricity is going to be a continuing, right?
See, insurance has gone up due to, as we have added machineries and the cost of insurance going up. We had added few godowns to support the operational efficiency, and legal and professional fees have gone up to support the new product developments. So all these expenses now will not increase proportionately with the increase in the sales. So these expenditures, what has happened, are not going to increase in the same proportion. So as we scale up, definitely we'll see an improvement in the margins.
Mm-hmm. So, but then why just 150 bits of improvement? It should be like 300, 400 bits of improvement on the sales. If we are expecting 60-70% of ramp up.
The 150 basis point is on the existing business, and the new business what we are bringing in will have more value-added products. So that will also add up into the improvement in the margins.
Okay, so can we expect at a company level like 20% margins?
EBITDA or?
EBITDA, sir.
EBITDA, I would say anywhere between operational EBITDA between 17% plus minus 1% we can look at.
Okay. Fair point, sir. Thank you so much. And sir, congratulations for coming on the main board, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank
you so much, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask the question. The next question is from the line of Mr. Ankit Agarwal from Yellowstone Equity. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, my first question is, I think somewhere you mentioned that you do Kinder Joy packaging. But if I see the packaging, it mentions the name of Huhtamaki PPL. So just want to understand, like, how is the relationship there?
Yeah. So the base material is all supplied by us. Huhtamaki is just doing the printing.
Okay, understood. Okay, so the labeling and the printing is done by Huhtamaki.
Yeah.
And that's why they print the name there. Okay, understood. Okay, my second question is around the barrier packaging, the new product that we have. From whatever limited knowledge I have, it seems there are like a medium barrier and high barrier kind of products. So what kind of product do we have? And is this PVDC coating based or something else?
No, this is not PVDC coating based. The structures can be designed for medium barrier and high barrier depending upon the requirement of the customer and what shelf life they are expecting from the food.
Understood. And I'm guessing high barrier would be more value added, right?
It will be little expensive because the materials which go contribute more towards the raw material cost. So definitely they are little expensive.
Understood. And in terms of the technology that we use thermoforming. Some players also use injection molding. Can you elaborate more on like what are the advantages and disadvantages of thermoforming versus injection molding? And in our case, like, and if you want to like go into different industries like a medical disposable industry, right now we are more focused on food and beverages. Would you consider the other technology, injection molding as well?
Yeah, definitely. We are open to evaluating other technologies also. So the basic difference between injection molding and thermoforming is that wherever the volume requirement is more, generally thermoforming is preferred. Similarly, it is difficult to do barrier packaging in injection molding. It's feasible. The technologies are available, but they are at very nascent stage and very complicated as compared to extrusion and thermoforming route. So that's one of the major difference, I will say, in terms of application. In terms of investment, yeah, standalone injection molding machine with mold will cost maximum 1 crore, but extrusion and thermoforming are little expensive in terms of capex. So that's the difference between injection molding and thermoforming. Injection molding is mostly a single stage process. In extrusion and thermoforming, we have to first extrude, bake the sheets, and then go into the giving the shape to the product.
Okay, but you said you can do higher volumes in thermoforming versus injection.
Yeah, if the numbers are more, generally the outputs are more in thermoforming as compared to injection molding.
Okay, but you can't do fine detailing and all, right, with thermoforming?
Yeah, of course. Wherever the part accuracy requirement is higher, there you need to go into injection molding.
So is it fair to say that if you want to venture into more value-added products, then injection molding also needs to be considered?
It depends which application it is at the end of the day. Okay. In injection molding also, you can have parts made for spacecraft, or you can have a parts made for medical application or for food packaging. So it depends which application it is going into.
Okay, so but we think like this is the best technology for our end user industry. Right.
It's not like that. Injection molding depends upon the application, is also good wherever it is. So it depends upon the application. In some areas, injection moldings are better. In some areas, thermoforming is better. Since we have been doing thermoforming, we are first trying to achieve whatever we can in this technology. And in the future, if required, we can also adapt to injection molding, whether it is blow molding or extrusion blow molding. Many options are available.
Okay. And then just a very broad question, like I think early on when you were doing all this barrier packaging capex, you mentioned that you will probably one of the first companies to do it in India. Like, are there any other rigid plastic packaging company that you think you admire and which could also be doing this technology, which could also be doing this rigid barrier packaging?
See, at the moment, there are companies who are doing in India, but they're importing it. They are not manufacturing in India. So it is coming through import route. So,
right.
I don't know the plans of other at the moment, since the capex is high. So we really don't know whether anybody else who are looking to invest into this particular segment.
But within the rigid plastic packaging space, can you name one company that you respect and admire to become like one of your competitors who you admire?
See, in rigid packaging, if we say bottle is also rigid packaging, so Manjushri is one, but again the application is altogether different. If we see Moltech, of course they are also there. So there are many different companies, but the applications are different. But if I say, yeah, at the international level, yeah, there are companies like RPC, Coveris, who are really big in the international arena, and we admire to or follow them and want to be reaching to those scales.
Okay, understood. Okay, that's very helpful. Just one more question. I see within the promoter group, I see the names of Sarjan Roongta and Anand Roongta. They were in non-executive role, but I think there was some announcement that one of them is coming back into executive role. Can you explain their involvement through the life of the company and what has changed now?
Yeah, previously Mr. Sarjan Roongta was in a non-executive role, but now Anand, their son, he has joined the operation and he's looking into the marketing activity. As we are scaling up, we feel we'll have more people from the promoter group to support the business.
Okay. Understood. This is very helpful. Thank you for answering all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Mr. Dharma Venkatasan, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hope you are doing fine and well in these tough times.
Yes, absolutely fine. Thank you very much. I hope same at your end.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, I just have a few questions, actually, sir. One is regarding the machines, actually. Is there any plan to replace any old machines or get more machines apart from the extension which we are currently doing for the next 2 to 3
I'm sorry, you're not audible. So if you can speak little loudly.
Sir, am I clear right now, sir?
Yeah, it's better now.
Yeah, sir. So the question is regarding the printing machines, sir, actually. So the thing is, for the next foreseeable future, is there any plan from the company to replace any old machines or to procure any new machines for the next 2 to 3 years?
On printing, we may procure some new machines as we are consolidating or modernizing our unit 1 and 3. So we may invest in some machines.
Okay.
Yes.
Sir, and the thing is, you said like we have added around like 10 new clients in this year, financial year. So is there any prominent clients? Is there any marquee clients like you can name those new clients?
Very difficult to give the name, but few of them is like ID Fresh we have added probably.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Sir, and like, can you repeat again what is the capacity utilization that we are looking forward for the next financial year? Okay.
From the new expansion?
Sir, as a overall, including the new and the old ones.
Yeah, we are looking at around overall combined capacity utilization to the level of 80 to 85%.
Okay, sir. Okay, fine, sir. Okay. That's good. And regarding the final question is regarding the exports, sir. Is like what is the exports breakdown in regional wise? Because previously our main 2 core areas were Middle East and China, and is it remain so, or is there any change in those things, sir?
Last year was slow, definitely due to COVID. We definitely lost the sales in export.
Yes, sir, that is understandable.
This quarter, it is doing better.
Okay, sir. So, during the next financial year, if things goes smooth, we can go back to the pre-COVID levels with the exports also, or will there be any hindrance there?
Yeah, looking at the current stage, it looks like we should be able to go to the pre-COVID level, provided we don't see any further uncertainty in future.
And just one more small thing, sir. The margins, sir, right now our EBITDA, our margins are around 15 to 16%. So is for the next 2 to 3 years, if the operating leverage kicks in, are we looking around margins of 19 to 20%, or it will take even more time for us to get back to the old margins which we were having?
We are looking to improve the margin from 150 to 200 basis point as we scale up in this year.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I hope you continue to deliver good results.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Mr. Ashish from Crown Stack. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Please let me know if you can hear me.
Ashish, sorry to interrupt you. Can I request you to speak a little louder?
Can you hear me now properly?
Yeah.
It's better now, Ashish. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for the opportunity, and congratulations on the capacity expansion. My first question is, you said that you have introduced some new products.
is there any product which differentiates us from our competitors, which is like difficult for other people to get into? And my second question is,
No, pardon, I missed that last line.
So I said my last line was, is there any product which is very difficult for our competitors to repeat or like kind of get into same category? And my second question is, since we have added new customers, as you said, 10 or like 11, 10, what is the category of clients who are primarily e-commerce kind of clients, who don't have like traditional retail kind of business, but primarily e-commerce kind of things? That's my two questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So Ashish, generally the category of our customers are from food, as we are mostly into food packaging. So they are related to food and dairy businesses, not into retail or e-commerce. And regarding the new products, like generally the products are tailor-made to suit the requirement of the customers, for which we need to develop certain molds, and it has to match on their filling lines. So it is not that somebody cannot make it, but at the end of the day, it is not only the mold, it is the combination of the material and other aspects which has to be matched. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask the question. The next question is from the line of Mr. Arun Kumar from Denero Financial Investments. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I just want to know whether our production got affected in this quarter, April to June, because of COVID.
April was good. After May, there was little impact. Not much, but there was a little impact due to national, almost kind of a lockdown situation.
To what an extent you can say our capacity will come down because of that? Could that come down?
10 to 15% impact, I can say.
Okay. And sir, now I think we are going from NSE emerge to NSE normal. So by when we can expect it to shift to that category?
I think so. Postal ballot process is on.
Yes.
So I think so it may take around 3 to 4 months as per my understanding.
You mean to say by the end of this year we can expect to normal, ordinary one? And sir, like now, then we'll have to go for the quarterly results. So can we expect quarterly results now from this quarter onwards?
I have to check what are the regulatory requirements. As per the requirements, we'll do the needful.
The regulatory requirement not be there for this June quarter, but can we have these on quarterly basis?
I will check with the team. If it is possible, we will try to give it.
And sir, my another question is your operating profit has come down from 24% to 21% this half year. And now you are saying there will be increase of roughly 1.5% we can expect next year. So we can expect this 1.5% from 24% or 21% which has come down to in this particular half year. Hello?
Which number are you talking about? Half year number?
Yes, half year numbers. Sir, operating margin has come down to 21%, which was 24% last half, September. So I just want to know, since you just told us that there will be increase of 1.5% in the operating margin, then next year we can expect. So this 1.5% from 24% or 21%?
24%.
You mean to say next year we can expect around 25.5%?
Yeah.
And sir, now you are telling we can expect around 50% increase in the turnover for the 21-22 over this. So you mean to say this is 50% over 76 crores or a half year, full year turnover of 120? Means next year 21-22, what type of total revenue we can expect?
See, as I said, like our existing capacities we have completely utilized or overutilized. So whatever capacities we are expanding, we are expecting to have 60 to 70% utilization on that or ramp up in this year. So based on that, we will say it's on the overall turnover we are saying for the full year.
Okay. And my last question is, sir, any dividend, like you have not given any announcement, any dividend for 2021, or what is the dividend policy will be in the time to come?
Board will take the decision and will let you know on that.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Mr. Amrit, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Amrit. How are you?
All good. I hope everyone's safe at home and at workplace.
Yes. Everything is fine, absolutely. Thank you.
Sure, great, sir. Sir, congratulations first of all on the starting of the new machine and for its stellar results.
Thank you.
So actually, I wanted to help me understand when will we start selling 9-layer packing material, and what about the growth prospect when it comes to percentage of the total sales?
This is 9-layer packaging material. We have already started selling it to the customers, and we have identified customers, and we are doing a lot of trial and tests with other new set of customers also. So gradually we will see the growth coming in. I will say from June we have started, so we could see next 3 to 6 months we could see some growth coming out from this particular new capacity.
And sir, for this 9-layer packing material, how much capacity the new machine will consume as per your assumption?
As we said, we are looking to ramp up the capacity at least to 60-70% level in this particular year.
Okay.
Gradually, as we go ahead.
All right. So, but that should yield us in more in terms of EBITDA as well as sales, right? Because 9-layer means there will be 9 different types of materials involved. So, plus it's a very niche product. So, we should expect better EBITDA as well as sales.
Yeah, definitely as the capacity and the new product line is coming up, so the overall revenue will also go up, and this particular product will have a better margin as compared to the existing one. So we should see an improvement in the EBITDA numbers.
And sir, well, I just want one last point for you to clarify. Like on the second half last year, there was a price hike as well given by your customers for raw material price hike due to oil. So when it comes to volume, how much volume growth did we do?
Yeah. So the volume growth is about 32% in H2 FY21 as compared to the corresponding period of the previous year.
All right. So 32% is absolute volume growth.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to all the participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Mr. Rahul Via from Abacus Asset Managers. Please go ahead.
Hi Rahul.
So just to talk about this year, we closed at 127 crores and EBITDA, operating EBITDA at 17.4 crores, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now just to talk about, now we are going to add 60 crores kind of a top line going further, and this is being a high value product with a high margin of at least 25%. So I believe we should be with 60 crores of addition, we should be adding 15 crores in the EBITDA.
Yeah.
Because the costs are already largely going to be remaining similar, right? Our employee costs should not grow much faster than the top line growth. That will remain in the range of 12.6 crores to 14 crores at best, even if you give 10% like to all the employees.
Whatever may be needed only for the direct production cost.
Right. So ideally, even if I consider 180 crores of top line and 15 crore directly flowing to the existing EBITDA from the new production process, So 17 crores plus 15 crores, it ideally should be 32 crores EBITDA. That comes to around 19% margins. Is that the possibility?
Yeah, at the moment, as I said, like we are looking at 2 to 3% increment, but it also depends upon the raw material prices. Lot of various factors are there. So if all goes well, definitely we can look at that particular range.
So, but as you said, like within 1 quarter, we have anyways a passing mechanism, right?
Yeah, we have a passing mechanism which comes up. So quarter 4 was a peak, quarter 1 again has little softened down. So we do have a passing mechanism.
Right, and this from again, like going back to the production cost and the new capacity, EBITDA margin should be 25%, right? If it's rigid packaging, such specialized high value addition. So the 127 crores, even if I had 60 crores, 15 crores ideally should flow down.
Yeah, it should grow. Theoretically, yes. We are looking to achieve those numbers, and we'll be trying our best to reach those numbers.
Sure. Okay. Sounds great, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Riya Mehta from Rishi Finstock. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. I wanted to understand, not sure if it is already covered. I wanted to understand what are all the factors that contributed to the higher inventory turnover days this year in addition to COVID, and how does it look in the first quarter of 22, financial year 22? Thank you.
Overall inventory has gone up basically due to 2 reasons. One is the higher cost of material prices, raw material prices, which has gone up by 30 to 40% in quarter 4. So the main reason for that, 5 crores is on account of pricing and 2 crores is on account of quantity. And the debtors, as we have increased our sales in last quarter, so we have debtors of 27 crores, which is in the range of 60 days of cycle, which we have in the normal course of business.
Okay. And how does the inventory turnover look in the coming year? What is the estimate like?
We look at standard of 60 days or so in coming year. Coming quarters, it should be in the range of 60 days.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to all the participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Mr. Varun Murali, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Thank you, and congratulations, sir, on your results and commissioning of the expanded capacity. We just wanted to look ahead for the next 1 to 2 years. I mean, as somebody pointed out earlier, this will be close to like a 30 crore EBITDA company prior to the new modernization program that you are undertaking. Is there any plan to carry out any further capex and any thought process around the same? Because I mean, even for the current capex around 15 crores, you've taken term debt of around 11 crores, accruals that are being used only 4 crores. So just wanted to understand like what is going to be the thought process, philosophy of the cash flow that is being generated going forward. Is it going to be like steady expansion, and has there been any thought given to like the next stage of expansion here?
Yeah, Varun. We are already working on exploring various products and technologies within food packaging domain. So the focus will remain on food packaging, higher value-added products, and environment-friendly products and technology. So as we have more information on this, we'll definitely let you know.
So, but is it fair to say that outside of the modernization program right now, there is no capex being planned at this juncture, and we may receive any further announcements around this during the course of the year?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to all the participants, you may press star and one to ask a question. As there are no further questions, I will now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you all for your support, and wish everyone stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Prabhudas Lilladher Private Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.